This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 12th of October 2014. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of Informer News. Coming up in this week's broadcast, there is now mounting evidence the second sun is now being viewed from many locations around our planet, and it is increasing in size. This harbinger of doom will soon unleash a devastatingly destructive event on our planet, and the elite is creating many destructive events to distract you from the truth. The Middle East will soon be the triggering point for World War III, that they plan to also use nuclear weapons to eradicate a large section of the global community. Also, their pandemic plan is well underway, with Ebola virus out of control and uncontainable. That will lead to a huge loss of life globally very soon. Okay, into this week's news. This first report is an Informer News presentation. There is now unmistakable footage proving the second sun is here now and is becoming visible from many locations around our planet. And with this incredible footage being posted on the net showing this huge object near the sun increasing in size, alarm bells should be ringing all around our planet. But still the mainstream media remains tight-lipped. This incredible evidence of the second sun nemesis that is part of a whole mini solar system with 7 planets including Nibiru is becoming a real threat to our planet and people. And unless the powers that be come clean, there's no hope for any of us. I've been warning for a very long time that the controlling elite plan to trigger a third global war as a distraction from the coming events, which is well underway. The United States has started bombing Syria. This, I believe, could be the start of World War III. There is now an even bigger threat to the people of this planet. Ebola, a virus created in a secret laboratory in Africa, altered to become airborne. The evil controlling elite ordered scientists to manipulate this doomsday virus as part of their distraction plan. They intend for this virus to become a pandemic sweeping the globe that has the potential to kill tens of millions of people. Africa should be completely quarantined and flights from that country banned. Nobody should be allowed to leave this infected area. If the controlling elite really wanted to stop this virus spreading, this quarantine plan should have been activated, but it was not, which speaks volumes to what the elite's real plan is, to eradicate as many people as they can before the Nibiru destruction begins. As I've been putting out for many months and years, the shadow government elite intended all along to create terrible events so the people's minds are distracted from the doomsday planet heading our way. When will the people of this planet wake up to the fact our leaders are pure evil and want and intend to kill as many of us as they can before the main event unfolds? With time running out for all of us, I ask the military of all the main power players on this planet, are you going to allow your leaders to commit genocide on a global scale? Remember, this plan of theirs is a threat to your families as well. We the people, with the help of the global military, united against this evil controlling elite, can and will regain power of our planet. If we all unite together in a common cause, survival. But that is up to us the people and the military of the global superpowers. If we just accept the inevitable, then there is no hope for any of us. The Informer. This following report originates from beforeitsnews.com and posted by Common Sense, titled CDC admits the USA is on the verge of a major Ebola outbreak. And this was posted on Tuesday, September the 16th, 2014. In late July and early August, 6 weeks ago, I warned that we were at the point of losing any hope of containing the Ebola virus. And I was called a fearmonger, and I was spreading fear porn. Many of my colleagues, e.g. Sheila Zielinski, were accused of the same. However, the worm has turned, and the truthful media has a new partner in fear-mongering, and it is the CDC. I reported that patient 0, Patrick Sawyer, had a layover in Ghana, then changed planes in Togo and flew to an international travel hub of Lagos, located in Nigeria. Nigeria is also the site of an Ebola outbreak. The dad of 3 died 5 days after arriving in the city. His sister, with whom Sawyer had contact, died of Ebola. He should never have been allowed to board any plane. In the same article, I noted that a desperate search is on to find the hundreds of passengers who flew on the same jet as Sawyer. A total of 59 passengers and crew are estimated to have come into contact with Sawyer. An effort is being made to track each individual down. There is an inherent problem with this track down. Sawyer was travelling to 2 commuter airports in which the exposed population was connected to other flights. At this point, the spread of the virus would quickly expand beyond any possibility of containment, because in less than half a day, nearly 500,000 people would be potentially exposed within a matter of a couple of hours. Sawyer's infected fellow travellers would each have made contact with 200 of the passengers and crew. Hours later, these flights would land and these people would have gone home to their friends and families and co-workers across several continents. This was when the world, and in particular President Obama, had a fighting chance to contain Ebola, and all parties failed miserably. Mea culpa, CDC. Within the past 24 hours, the CDC joined the fear-mongering business. After I published my July the 30th report, United States health officials countered several similar claims by saying that they are not worried because Ebola is only transmitted through exposure to bodily fluids. In other words, the CDC was telling the truthful media to stop spreading hysteria. Now it is clear that the CDC is singing a different tune. 14 hours before the publishing of this present article, the CDC has drawn up and released a 6-page action plan on how to tackle Ebola, warning US hospitals now is the time to prepare. This stern warning comes a week after the organization warned that the disease is out of control, as it has now been revealed that a CDC worker had contacted the illness. At the urging of the CDC and the US government, world leaders have pledged to invest millions in healthcare in Liberia, where the disease is expected to rage for another 18 months at least. How far can Ebola spread in 18 months? The CDC issued 6-page Ebola checklist, which is designed to help healthcare workers quickly diagnose patients who may be infected. Also is designed to show healthcare workers how to take action to protect themselves from exposure by donning certain protective gear and doing so in a certain manner. Nothing is being done to contain Ebola. An analysis published this week noted that over 6,000 travelers fly from Nigeria to the USA every week, one of the countries hardest hit by the deadly Ebola outbreak, which can claim the lives of 90% of infected people. thousands more of these potentially Ebola-infected persons are being allowed to fly from Nigeria to the UK, Canada, France, Germany, the United Arab Emirates and China, among other countries. And would you care to guess where travellers from the UK, Canada, France, Germany and the United Arab Emirates and China frequently fly to? That answer would be the United States. Within a 21-day incubation period and no mandated screening procedures for people travelling from infected countries, it's really not a matter of if, but when the virus reaches the United States. This is a recipe for disaster. The most disturbing news comes from my most trusted, confidential military source. My source is the same that told me an attempted rescue of Ambassador Stevens that was thwarted by the Obama administration. This was a fact that did not surface in other venues for months as a prelude. If there is one thing that could send military leaders over the edge and perhaps mutiny, this is it. There is a 1-2 punch coming as it relates to the unfolding Ebola crisis. First, the military has been told to take orders from the Department of Homeland Security with regard to establishing revised quarantine procedures. Part of these plans include putting local police under the jurisdictional command of the military, in which we could call a de facto military draft for police officers. In other words, your local police chief and sheriff will take orders from the Pentagon when it comes to the quarantining and detention of areas and people related to an Ebola outbreak. Perhaps this is the real reason behind Program 1033, which has effectively militarized the police. This development will effectively convert local law enforcement into a martial law operational unit. Further, this would constitute the means from which martial law can be brought in through the back door, and the military will be an unwitting accomplice. The police and military will not be enforcing martial law. They will be told they are protecting the public's safety. On April 21st, 2013, ZetaTalk.com put out the following info. The Department of Homeland Security has purchased hollow point bullets in the hundreds of millions. But why? My honest opinion is that the elite plan to arm a militia to guard their many underground survival complexes when the Nibiru event starts. The powers that be know once this destructive event starts, there will be a panicking public heading towards their many domes and trying to enter them. This is another reason why they want to disarm the American public, so that they can't fight back when the armed militia start firing on them. Okay, into the report that originates from ZetaTalk.com, newsletter issue 342, posted on April 21st, 2013. Why is Homeland Security buying scads of bullets, including scads of hollow point bullets? They have refused to provide answers on the hollow point bullet buys during congressional hearings on these matters, beyond stating that they are buying in bulk as it is cost effective. But hollow point bullets are more expensive, and why would they need them at all? Hollow point bullets are known to virtually explode in the body and for a quick kill. ZetaTalk answer 30th of the 3rd, 2013. Anybody asking the Department of Homeland Security why they need hollow point bullets in the hundreds of millions to conduct their business in the interior of the US gets no response. And this is because the answers cannot be uttered while the cover-up over the pending passage of Planet X, aka Nibiru, is still in place. Once the cover-up is blown and the public know the truth, what will Homeland Security say? They're still likely to be closed-mouthed, as the admission will be shocking. The US military cannot be relied upon to remain loyal to the president, and such rebellion is not merely an issue for Obama. President George W. Bush faced almost complete military rebellion in 2005, though this was never publicly admitted, where Bush tried to use the US military as a private military for world domination and control of oil fields for Bush cronies. Obama's issue with the military is likely to be the sequestered budget cuts and the need to release officers and soldiers from active duty. This following report originates from Nibiru sunset.wordpress.com, titled Sinkholes Swallowing Up the Earth All Over the World. The Dead Sea is famous for its healing remedies and unique minerals, but in recent years a new phenomena has appeared. Gigantic sinkholes are appearing along the sea's west coast. Our Israeli team spoke with a researcher who fell into one of those holes. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on Earth. It attracts tourists from all over the world who enjoy its healing waters. Industries also utilize its minerals, but in recent years deep holes began forming along its west coast. In Israeli terminology, they are named sinkholes, and they can swallow up roads, vehicles, and even humans. We went out to examine this phenomena and met a geologist who fell into a sinkhole while he was examining it. Eli Raz, geologist, Enyedi. I was informed that new sinkholes were spotted somewhere. I went to document it and discovered a small sinkhole. While documenting it, it grew larger and drew me in. So what does it feel like to be swallowed by the earth? Eli Raz, geologist. I fell into a massive landslide which kept me on one side, but the other side was burying me. The first thing I recall was striving to get out. It was pitch dark and I couldn't see anything. I felt as though there was a heavy rock on my head. It was a struggle which lasted for hours, trying to dig my way out, and at one point I managed to climb out of the fall, and from that moment onwards the anxiety began. Raz sat in the depth of the hole for 14 long hours. He was unable to move and unable to climb upwards. Eli Raz, the biggest problem was that I was afraid to move much because everything was very fragile and each movement could have aroused a new landslide. To view the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. And finally, more signs the effect on planet Earth from Nibiru is increasing. This following report originates from planetxnews.com, titled The number of volcanic eruptions is increasing and that could lead to an extremely cold winter. And this was posted on September the 17th, 2014. The number of volcanoes that are erupting continues to rise, and scientists cannot seem to explain why this is happening. In 2013, we witnessed the most volcanic eruptions worldwide that we have ever seen in a single year, and this increasing activity has carried over into 2014. In recent months, we have seen major volcanoes roar to life in Russia, Peru, Hawaii, Reunion Island, Indonesia, and all over Alaska. It is highly unusual for so many volcanoes to all be erupting at the same time. According to Volcano Discovery, a whopping 34 volcanoes are erupting around the globe right now. This is sending a massive amount of dust and ash into the upper atmosphere, and it may explain why many parts of the planet are experiencing strangely cold weather at the moment. If this trend continues, we could potentially be facing years of crop failures and widespread famine all over the world. And what we have witnessed already may just be the beginning. There are several more very large volcanoes around the globe that scientists are extremely concerned about right now. For example, just check out what is going on in the Philippines. Mayon volcano in the province of Albay was placed on alert level 3 on Monday evening, September the 15th, after showing signs of a relatively high unrest, and Seismology 5 said in a bulletin issued at 10 p.m. 5 observed 39 rockfall events from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on September the 15th. Symptoms of the build-up of a magma at the summit dome. At least 32 low-frequency volcanic earthquakes were also recorded, indicating magma intrusion or volcanic gas activity. 5 dust raised the alert status of Mayon volcano from alert level 2 to alert level 3, which is equivalent to a critical alert in the agency's 5-level alert system. This means that the volcano is exhibiting relatively high unrest magma is at the crater and that an eruption is possible within weeks. But of an even greater concern is the Barabunga. It is the largest volcano system in Iceland. A major eruption could potentially be absolutely catastrophic. This time the threat of an eruption, potentially even more powerful than the one in 2010, is poised by the Barabunga, the biggest of Iceland's 30 or so volcanic systems, located roughly at the country's centre. The volcano's 10-kilometre caldera lies several hundred metres beneath Vatnajökull, Europe's largest glacier by volume. Scientists are taking the latest rumblings seriously. Roughly 8,000 years ago, after all, the volcanic Leviathan let rip with the largest eruption of the past 10,000 years. It is very difficult to predict exactly what will happen with an eruption, says Monash University volcanologist Professor Ray Kaz, who is president of the International Association for Volcanology and Chemistry of the Earth. Scientists tell us that over the last 10,000 years, Barabunga has produced more lava than any other volcano on the planet. If we witness a full-scale eruption at Barabunga, the cancellation of a few thousand flights may be the smallest of our concerns. The truth is that we might be looking at the coldest winter that any of us have ever seen in the Northern Hemisphere. But don't just take my word for it. The following is from a British newspaper article entitled "Icelandic Volcano Could Trigger Britain's Coldest Winter Ever This Year." Depending on the force of the explosion, minute particle thrust beyond the Earth's atmosphere can trigger decades of chaotic weather patterns. Tiny pieces of debris act as billions of shields reflecting the sun's light away from the Earth, meaning winter temperatures could plunge lower than ever before, while summer will be devoid of sunshine. The first effect could be a bitterly cold winter to arrive in weeks, with thermometers plunging into minus figures and not rising long before next summer. If this did happen, there is nothing that we can do to change it. We would just have to deal with it. To view the full transcript, go to my website, endtimes23.com, where I've posted a link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. Okay, my friends, you're all invited to join this channel by subscribing to endtimes23, which is a totally free subscription service. You're also invited to add me as a friend on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. If you'd like to drop me a line on my blog, by all means do so. Or if you'd like to join one of my circles in Google+, both the links are under this video. All this week's news links can be found on my website, endtimes23.com. There's a live link near the end of this video. Well, that's your lot for this week, my friends. I do hope you've enjoyed the show. I'll be back with you in a week's time with another edition of Cosmic News. So until then, this is your informer signing off. Friends, I'll see you on the flip side. which speaks volumes to what the elite's real plan is: to eradicate as many people as they can before the Nibiru destruction begins. As I've been putting out for many months and years, the shadow government elite intended all along to create terrible events so the people's minds are distracted from the doomsday planet heading our way. When will the people of this planet wake up to the fact our leaders are pure evil and want and intend to kill as many of us as they can before the main event unfolds? With time running out for all of us, I ask the military of all the main power players on this planet, are you going to allow your leaders on our planet? And the elite is creating many destructive events to distract you from the truth. The Middle East will soon be the triggering point for World War III, that they plan to also use nuclear weapons to eradicate a large section of the global community. Also, their pandemic plan is well underway, with Ebola virus out of control and uncontainable. That will lead to a huge loss of life globally very soon. Okay, into this week's news. This first report is an Informer News presentation. There is now unmistakable footage proving the second sun is here now and is becoming visible from many locations around our planet. And with this incredible footage being posted on the net showing this huge object, this is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 12th of October 2014. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of Informer News. Coming up in this week's broadcast, there is now mounting evidence the second sun is now being viewed from many locations around our planet, and it is increasing in size. This harbinger of doom will soon unleash a devastatingly destructive event near the sun, increasing in size. Alarm bells should be ringing all around our planet. But still the mainstream media remains tight-lipped. This incredible evidence of the second sun nemesis that is part of a whole mini solar system with 7 planets, including Nibiru, is becoming a real threat to our planet and people. And unless the powers that be come clean, there's no hope for any of us. I've been warning for a very long time that the controlling elite plan to trigger a third global war as a distraction from the coming events, which is well underway. The United States has started bombing Syria. This, I believe, could be the start of World War III. There is now an even bigger threat to the people of this planet. Ebola, a virus created in a secret laboratory in Africa, altered to become airborne. The evil controlling elite ordered scientists to manipulate this doomsday virus as part of their distraction plan. They intend for this virus to become a pandemic sweeping the globe that has the potential to kill tens of millions of people. Africa should be completely quarantined and flights from that country banned. Nobody should be allowed to leave this infected area. If the controlling elite really wanted to stop this virus spreading, this quarantine plan should have been activated, but it was not.